Microsoft's bringing more games to xCloud, but it's the details that matter. And the details we are going to talk about. So today, Microsoft announced what I actually think is a pretty big announcement, but it's not so much the surface news that gets me kind of amped up about what we're going to talk about here. So, kicking it off with the news, Microsoft is announcing they're bringing 16 backwards compatible titles to their cloud gaming service. Now, this is a pretty interesting thing because if you think about it, running backwards compatible titles is almost sort of a modern miracle, if you will. There is some serious wizardry going on that makes it possible to play original Xbox games, 360, all the Xbox games you know and love on a current generation title. Don't take that for granted. There is a lot of technology, there's a lot of emulation, there's a lot of smart thinking that has to go on to make that fundamentally possible. Now, set that aside for a second. Cloud gaming for Microsoft also is a bit of modern wizardry because you're streaming games down to an Android device, iOS and web browsing coming soon. You stream it down to these things and you have a relatively low latency experience of streaming content to your phone and playing a game that you just honestly probably really enjoy. And you don't even notice it if it's in the cloud, especially in like first person titles or non-multiplayer aspects of games. It's really, really cool and really well done. So you take backwards compatible wizardry and you bring it with the magic of cloud gaming. And when you put those together, you're putting together two volatile objects that are potentially ripe for disruption and just crashing and everything else. And now it's possible. What this means is that Microsoft is becoming really confident in their cloud gaming technology and their stack that makes it all possible, because by allowing backwards compatible titles, that's introducing another layer of functionality and complexity to their service, right? We already know that Microsoft has told us time and time again that these servers that are powering cloud gaming are just Xbox stuff just shoved into a server rack into a data center that Microsoft won't let me go visit. But that's what it is. And so by them turning on backwards compatibility like this, it means that they're very confident in the stack that they've built and the functionality and the experience that it's going to deliver, because that's adding another layer of complexity to the equation. So I would expect that Microsoft will eventually or continuously roll out more backwards compatible titles to the service, again, expanding the library of cloud gaming options for your mobile device when you are out running around. It's a really, really cool piece of technology, and there's some really big credit that Microsoft is due for figuring out how to make all this work. The other interesting thing too is I think we are getting closer, I don't think we're quite there yet, but getting closer to the timeline when Microsoft launches especially a new first person or first party title. Like let's just say Halo Infinite, for example. We use that as a demonstration, not confirming or denying anything, I don't really know. But you can imagine a scenario how Microsoft is going to start launching this and say, hey look, it's available literally everywhere. And what they mean by that is it's available on Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, it's available on cloud gaming, which means that it's all part of Game Pass as well, which means that if you're playing on your mobile phone, you're playing on your desktop, you're playing on your console, the game is available everywhere that you are gaming on day one. The key being on day one. We're not really seeing that quite yet, where Microsoft is launching titles simultaneously across all of their gaming services, specifically meaning like console and cloud gaming. But I think that is coming. We already see a big push for game one or day one on Game Pass. And so I think that's the next logical step in that narrative of bringing content to market, is it's available everywhere simultaneously, which is a really cool, a differentiating feature in the world of Xbox. So that is the big announcement. 16 games are available starting here very soon. You can go check that, and they call them 16 OG Xbox 360 games. So they're definitely pulling from deeper in that back catalog for cloud gaming. So that's pretty cool. The other thing that Microsoft has announced, and I actually missed this in the initial announcement, is the limited series badging that Microsoft is now using. This has me intrigued. So we've already seen the B&O headset that is 500 bones. If you really want what we believe is going to be the best of the best Xbox Series headset. So that is launching here in April. $500, but they're also launching this new limited series, which means we are going to be seeing more and more high-end peripherals for the Xbox brand. And so I'm not quite sure where this is all headed, but Microsoft very clearly thinks that there is a high-end premium market, which is how I kind of concluded that the $500 headset, while expensive, not extremely crazy for some individuals who really enjoy high-end audio. It looks like Microsoft saw this experiment potentially with the Series Elite 2 controller, and they're looking to expand it to third parties who are going to be building just super high-end gaming accessories, or potentially even more, for the Xbox brand. I'll be curious to see where this goes. I would love it if they would do it on the mini fridge, because Microsoft, I would buy one. I would absolutely buy like a 4-can mini fridge, Xbox Series X style fridge. I would do that. Or if The Rock just wants to send me one, I wouldn't complain about that either. So there you go. Be on the lookout for more high-end gaming accessories from Microsoft. I'm curious like how far they're going to take this though, because you could think about it. Think about like this in terms of cloud gaming. Would they bring this to a phone, for example? Like, would they go to Asus and be like, hey, you guys build some pretty cool high-end gaming phones. What if we slapped this logo on there and made it a super premium thing? Or what if they went to a TV manufacturer, say like an LG OLED, which is what I game on right now, and it's a wonderful 120 frames per second experience through HDMI 2.1 and Dolby Vision. It is really good. Would they be willing to slap that logo on there? Is this just a pure marketing play? I don't know, but there seems to be a lot of possibilities once you start thinking outside the console, because I don't foresee Microsoft letting a manufacturer, and there might be like one-off bespoke things like we've already seen already, but where they build like a custom Xbox or something like that. I don't think they're going to see it there. I think it's going to be more of an accessory play, especially when you look at it in terms of cloud gaming, because cloud gaming is where Microsoft branches outside of their traditional, I was going to say box, because that is what they sell. Is they sell two different boxes. You got a rectangle box and you got a squishy rectangle or squished rectangle box. But you think about it in terms of like iOS. Now the browser would be a little weird. Opera does have a gaming browser. I don't know if they're going to go that route, but you could see it in the terms of things like Razer Kishi, just different audio microphones, for example. Like this is a Blue Yeti. Could they start selling an Xbox limited series gaming accessory in this regard? I could absolutely see them going that. Would they go that far with a laptop? Would they go that far with a graphics card? Would they go that far with a mouse? It's a really interesting thing when you start thinking about what Xbox has truly become, because it's time to break the narrative that Xbox is only the console. I know I've mentioned it here before, and probably many people listening to this understand this, but Xbox is so much more than the console. It might honestly be part of a Discord if Microsoft ends up buying them too. So there's a lot of potential here when it comes to cloud gaming, when you come to premium accessories in the Xbox world, and you've been drizzling some backwards compatible title stuff. It's been an interesting week of Xbox content. I'm sure that Microsoft is looking forward to the months ahead. The other interesting thing too is I heard that some of this stuff was coming, this backwards compatible stuff, but I couldn't quite lock it down. I actually was a little bit surprised to see it independently announced. I thought they might bundle this up with the browser and iOS announcements, bringing like, a nice, here's your browser stuff, here's your iOS, and look, even more backwards compatible titles and all that good stuff. But clearly they didn't go that route. Anyways, so if you look at the details of what has been announced this week, there's a lot of interesting things on the horizon. The way that Microsoft is approaching, we really got to give some credit to the marketing people at Xbox lately. They've been doing a very good job at just constantly pushing out news generating items, more so than I think I'm trying to think in history of the Xbox brand. I'm sure there's some other timelines, but this post-launch for Xbox Series S and X has been incredible for Microsoft. They deserve some credit for how well they are keeping Xbox in the headlines. That is not an easy thing to do. Yes, they're one of the major consoles, but they're doing it in a unique way. So as we learn more about what Microsoft is doing and what Xbox is doing, keep it subscribed here, because the only BS on this channel is me.